Hello. Today I'm going to demonstrate how to do a garter stitch tab. In this piece that I'm working on, it is a 2-stitch garter stitch tab. Usually when you do a shawl, it'll be a 3-stitch, but in this case it's a 2-stitch. And the nice thing about the garter stitch tab is that when you do it, it gives you the illusion of an unbroken line of garter stitch along the edge of your work. So it's a really nice, tidy edge. And here I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay, we're doing a 2-stitch tab, so I'm going to cast on 2 stitches. I'm going to start with a slip knot, and I'm going to keep my slip knot kind of loose and do a long tail for the 2nd stitch. I'm also going to keep that kind of loose because eventually we're going to be coming around and picking up stitches off of this cast on edge, and it is easier to do if it is loose. All right, 2 stitches cast on. Now we're going to knit 4 rows, which will give us 2 garter ridges. And if you're good at backwards knitting, this is a great place for backwards knitting. Now this time, when I turn the work, I'm not going to turn it around to start knitting it again. Instead, I'm going to turn it 90 degrees so that the side of the work is facing up. And I'm going to pick up 2 stitches along this edge. I'm going to go past the first garter bump and into that strand and pick up a stitch there. And I'm going to go past the second garter bump and into this strand and pick up a stitch here. For picking up stitches like this, it is handy to have pointy needles and again that loose cast on. Now we're going to turn it another 90 degrees so that we are now picking up on the cast on edge. Okay, now picking up from the cast on edge is the trickiest part of this maneuver, both because it's cast on, so it's a little bit tight, and because you've come around 2 corners and the knitting itself is all stretched out of sorts and it doesn't know what it's doing. So what I'm going to do is use my 2nd needle to help pull out a loop for me to knit into. So I'm going to put my 2nd needle in a spot on the bottom and then knit into that loop, and then do the same thing again, pull out a spot on the bottom to knit into. That helps make it easier to get into those bottom stitches because they can be very tricky. All right, so now we have 2 stitches, the original 2 picked up from the side and 2 picked up from the bottom. Now we have all of our picked up stitches. We're going to turn to the wrong side and we're going to work our first row. We're going to knit 2 stitches, which is going to become our 2-stitch garter border. Increase, in my case it's the yarn over, knit the 2 from the side, yarn over, and then knit the 2 from the top, the original 2 stitches. Now we're going to turn back to the right side, and I'm going to mark this as the right side because when working in garter stitch, it can be very tricky to see where the right and the wrong sides are. Okay. Now you have your garter tab started and you just follow your directions for whatever you're working. In my case, I am going to knit my 2 edge stitches, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1 more, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, and then knit my other 2 edge stitches. Okay, so I've added 4 more stitches. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I have 12 stitches now. I'm going to turn the work and do the wrong side row. Knit 2 edge stitches, yarn over, yarn over, knit my 2 edge stitches. Now you can kind of see this garter tab starting to form. Not really. It needs a few more rows. So in this example here, we have the few more rows worked out, and you can see that beginning garter tab taking shape. Here, when it's still only a couple of rows, it's still a little vague, but it will come out. Happy knitting!